Here in the session, this is Teeka, and this is, help me out one more time.
Khumbu.
Khumbu, and they are siblings. They are Chows, and we're really primarily here to work with Teeka, who is very fearful about a lot of things. So in this video, we're going to go over what you could do. Here, let's do this way. Come. What you can do if you have a fearful dog. Now, we started off the session by really talking about what not to do. The most common mistake people make with a fearful dog is they try to pet it when it gets fearful. And anything your dog is doing when you pet it is what you're going to amplify. This includes unbalanced states of mind like fear, stress, anxiety. So it's a very natural thing for us to do, but you can lay your hand on the dog and not amplify it. But as soon as you start petting, you're going to amplify it. Now you see she's coming over here and she's lingering. This is towards the end of the session. A lot of what I've done to earn her trust is by not engaging with her.
Correct.
I haven't tried to pet her. I gave her some treats. We created a positive association. But what I wanted her to do is practice approaching me, having something good happen, and then moving away all on her own volition. So right now we're kind of close to downtown Omaha, and so it's a very busy area. There's a high school right across the street, and so that can be very stressful for her. And the guardian expressed to me that he was a little bit frustrated that at times she won't listen. She won't listen at all. Now, if I'm hysterical about somebody, that guy robbed my house and he's at the party, and I can't, nobody's gonna be able to talk to me because I'm hysterical because that guy robbed my house and now he's right there. So for your dogs, if your dog's fearful of whatever it is, and we're trying to get them to do it, they're not gonna listen to us. They're just in a state of panic. So what I'd like the guardian to do is start making, first of all, make a list of all the things that she shows that she's fearful of. Don't worry about the prioritizing, right? Just make a list. Snapping a bag open is one of the things the guardian mentioned he doesn't do because he doesn't want to spook them. I'd want to actually do that to help her get over that for good. So the way I would do that is like I would give her a treat like this, and then I would very slowly snap the bag open. Then I might give her another treat and repeat the same thing until she's kind of lingering, and then I start snapping it a little bit faster, a little bit faster, a little bit faster. Then eventually what I would do is when she's kind of lingering because she gets a treat before each time, then I would snap the bag open and then give her a treat after. So at first we give her the reinforcer first and then the stimulus happens. But after a while, she's comfortable with the stimulus. Then I do the stimulus and then she gets her treat after. So after enough repetition, she's like, I like it when he snaps the bag open because that means I'm about to get a treat. So, so that's one of the ways you can deal with this. But what I do when I have a dog that's fearful or misbehaves or doesn't behave the way that I want for a situation, I ask myself first, have I taught the dog how it's supposed to behave in that scenario? Most of the time it's a no. So then what I do is I add it to my list and I say, how can I recreate this scenario and make it the easiest version possible? So for her, like walking around when there's school is getting out or there's people around town, she's a good looking dog. Everyone wants to go over and pet her, and that's the last thing she wants. And even if you tell people not to, they're going to do that anyways. And so once she gets past the threshold, she enjoys being outside downtown, but it's the initial start of the process. And it's probably partially because she was, we have to take her outside for potty. We just don't have a choice for it. But that can create a negative experience. And after enough accumulation of those, I don't like this area because I always feel like I'm insecure or I'm stressed about it. So what I would recommend the guardian do, it's not convenient and not forever, but is to take her for a walk by driving somewhere else. Drive to a park. Just go with her. Because right now the guardian has one dog that wants to meet everybody and one dog doesn't want to meet anybody. So he's going like this. And that's frustrating and stressful for him. If she can read the guardian is frustrated or stressed out, that's going to make her more stressed out. So what we want to do is take her to a situation. When I have a dog that is reactive like that, what I do is I try to lower the intensity. I do it one of three ways. I either increase the distance between the dog and whatever it's reactive to, I turn down the volume, or I slow down the speed. Now, my tooth litmus test to see if the dog is comfortable is, will the dog sit and will it take a treat? If it won't do either one of those two things, you're still too proximate or the stimulus is too intense. So what you want to do is, if she's a little bit nervous around people, is find a park where there are going to be people, but not a ton of people. And find a big park. People we were talking about in the military, short confined areas amplifies and that heightens the danger. Yep. And for dogs, they feel like right here, she was walking, let's see if I can get her walk by. So she didn't want to walk by there. She has a couple times, but this is a choke point. If she does this, she puts herself vulnerable, I could grab her. And so because of that, dogs are going to stay away.
She thinks all those things, huh?
Yeah, well, it's not so much she's formulative thinking thoughts, but it just kind of, if you're going to run to catch a fly ball, you're not thinking the angle, the trajectory, and the speed. Your mind does all these things for you. And the same sort of thing for her. So she's not consciously, but she does notice, okay, that's an area where I can be trapped. So when you're outside, we have a lot of benefits. There's more distractions. There's sight, sound, smells. So I can't focus just on this guy. The other thing is there's a million escape routes, and she's a lot faster than I am. So that makes her feel emboldened and empowered, like she can move away. So basically what we want her to do is when the guardian finds out things that she's fearful of, I want him to make a list and then just look at the list and how can I recreate the situation. So for this example, we'll talk about, there we go. So that sound was a little bit much for her, but she came back because, again, I still haven't petted her. So she feels good about it.
And she knows you're going to have a treat.
And she's going to get a treat for it. Come.
I try some of those things when we're outside,
Come.
but I'll even chop up a piece of steak. If she sees someone coming, she won't even...
Once she's what we call above threshold, that's hysterical. So basically what you want to do is Memorial Park is like about...
I know right where it is. I didn't know you could bring dogs out
there.
there.
Yeah. And you can't...
It's huge.
And she's got to be off leash, or on leash, excuse me. And at 5 o'clock on the west side of that, usually about 5:30, there's a congregation of a bunch of dogs, but there'll always be a lot of people. We don't want her to necessarily be around a ton of dogs. Sit.
Well, I don't work for anyone, so I can go at any time.
Sit. Well, but for her, we want to set her up for success by taking her there at times where there aren't going to be a lot of dogs and people. So, and weekends are fine, or times people
but break her in.
Yeah.
A few dogs, a few people, not during like a big rush hour.
What you would like to do is if you do see a dog walking, walk with them, but we call it parallel walking. So if this is the path, my arm is the path, and they're walking down the path, maybe you walk here, and you're walking parallel to them, and enough distance where if she's like this and has very what we call efficient movements, she's kind of looking at everything at once. That's passive training. So then that's the cortisol in her blood. So what we want to do is we want to basically take her to an environment where there's going to be some people, but not coming up to her, where we can lead her to them. And if you start leading her to them and she pulls back on a leash or she shuts down, that's her way of saying, I'm comfortable here. What we want to do is we want her to practice being calm at whatever distance she can handle. So if you're starting to walk towards some people that are sitting with a picnic blanket and she just stops, then I would take note, okay, we're at 25 paces. We're 25 feet away. So turn around and walk away about another 10 feet and then re-approach it, but this time stop at maybe 26 feet. Grab a seat with yourself. Bring a book, something, and sit down, and then just basically sit.
David, is there a way we can pause this for a second?
No, but you can put it on tripod right there and put it, and I'll continue.
There I just got to pee again.
No, that's right.
I'm having some issues.
That's okay. Put it right there and make sure it's still facing me, and I'll just go. You do that, and we'll multitask. Okay. So what we want to do is we want to recreate the situation that she failed in, but we want to find the easiest version possible. So what we're going to do is go to Memorial Park, and you see people, like I said, on a picnic blanket. You start approaching at 25 feet. She stops. Walk 10 feet away. Give her some, let her recover, and then basically come up and stop at 26 feet. Stop 1 foot before she felt the need to react or to stop or whatever it was. Sit. And then what I would like you to do is sit down yourself, have some high-value treats like I have, and then basically just pull out a book, read a couple emails or whatever it is. Now what I'd like you to do then is I'm going to take one of these treats and I'm going to smash it flat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let him chew on it, and as you can see, I can change where he's looking by moving the treat up or down. So I want him to be looking directly, or her in this case, looking directly at the people on the blanket. So now she's looking at them and having a positive reinforcer. She's getting this treat. And you can leave it there, that's fine. That's fine. And what we do is when you're sitting down, to her, like, okay, well, he's sitting down, so he must be relaxed. And he's sitting down, we're going to be here for a minute. We want to stay there until she sits down or lays down on her own. When she does, then we could do a couple of those treats. But if she's standing and you're pulling the treat out and letting her chew on it, that's fine. And practice this chewing thing at home so she gets used to it. And so now she's chewing on it, and we can have her looking directly at the people. Make sure she's not looking down or up. Make sure she's looking directly at them. And do this until she, like I said, until she sits or lies down. Then I would do maybe 1 or 2 more. Then get up and walk away. Don't walk towards the people. Walk away from the people. And if you want to rep it a couple times, walk around and do a circle and then approach them from a different angle. So if you approach them at first from they're front facing you, approach them from the side and then stop again at 26 feet. Then go behind them and stop at 26 feet. Then go to this side and stop at 26 feet. And the people look like you look, you're weird, just say, hey, my dog's really fearful. I'm just trying to help her practice looking at people while she gets really good treats. Do you mind? No, beautiful dog. Can I pet her? No, she's really, she's very fearful. And I would just say for her, if anybody wants to pet her, just say, I'm training her to be a service dog, so we don't want her to be craving human attention. People will take steps back, and that's all you need. And you might even get a service dog and training vest for her when you're walking her. People will keep their distance. And that might help more than probably anything else in the short term if you do have to walk her out in the area. So the idea is, okay, so now we're at 26 feet and we approach from all these different angles and you sit down each time. After a while, after a couple of repetitions, if you think that she's comfortable, so you know what her tail looks like, so if her tail is curled the way that you know that she feels confident, then next time go to 25 feet as you approach. And then get her, will she sit and will she take the treat? And then do that with all four, all the different angles. And keep on doing that until when you get to let's say you get to 20 feet and she won't sit or she won't take a treat. Okay, now we've reached her threshold, her breaking point. So we back up and then come back and practice one more time at 21 feet, and then we leave. We want the last experience, the last memory engram that she has to be a positive. So last thing I remember, I was there and I got treats. Nobody petted me. I was as far enough away as I needed to feel comfortable. And if you keep on repeating this, and it won't always be a people on the blanket, somebody have kids on the swing or whatever it is, but gradually get closer and closer. But again, remember your two indicators. If she won't sit or won't take the treat, she is about to be, she can be scared to the point where it's debilitating without showing it. So the indications for me are, will she sit or will she take the treat? So eventually, if you go methodically, eventually you get to the point where you can be like a couple feet away. Now, does she know how to catch? Okay, to teach a dog to catch, most of us go like this. We go 1, 2, and then the dog starts looking at it, and then it hits him on the head.
Chows.
And then, yes, and you could even teach chows. I've taught actually a dog that had glaucoma and really had
Mine did it too, but if anyone else was within eyesight, they'd look at the ball like you go get it.
Yeah. So the idea is what we want to do is we want to just on the first toss it, make it such a good toss that all the dog has to do is open his mouth and it goes in the mouth. If it goes in the mouth, say the word catch. If it pick it up. Don't let the dog eat it off the ground. That's how you teach them to snatch it out of the air, because otherwise I'm just getting it on the ground. It's a wonderful activity if you can teach your dog to catch. Now, chows don't have the best eyesight, peripheral, but straight ahead should be okay. And this way it allows them to engage with people they don't know, but at enough of a distance where they're not being physically touched, but they're giving that positive reinforcer, and it's a little bit of a game. And so if you teach her how to catch by doing this, when you're out and about and people want to pet her, can I pet her? Well, she's a little bit skittish. She's returning to be a service dog, but would you like to toss her a treat? I'd love to toss her a treat. Tell her to sit, toss a treat, and then give them a treat, and they'll do the same thing. After a while, she'll go, if I just go sit in front of strangers, they throw treats at me. And again, they're not petting her because you told her the service dog thing. So now she's having experience and she's practicing being around new situations in a threshold that she can handle. And we're not asking her for more than she can deal with. And we're gradually getting her closer and closer. But this might take multiple visits. So like I said, you make a list. If it's a vacuum cleaner, I might start off with the vacuum cleaner here, off, in a static position. And I just basically would breadcrumb, toss a treat, maybe 10 feet away from it. She goes over, gets it, and runs away. And I do that until she kind of lingers at 10 feet. Then I throw it at 9 feet, then 8 feet. Eventually, I'm dropping it on top of the vacuum cleaner. And she's able to process it because it's not moving, it's not making all the crazy sounds. The next step would be, when she's here, I'd pop a treat in her mouth, and I would click it and pull the handle down. Not turning it on, just moving the handle up and down. So, and again, I give her a treat first, and then I do the stimulus. And after a while, then she's still there and she's comfortable. Then I do the stimulus first, then I give the treat. And that's the important transition you want to get to. At first, we give the treat to help her gain confidence. But eventually, once she's gained enough confidence where she can stay there, then we want to trigger the stimulus, then provide the treat. Then after a while, the stimulus means, the car horn means I'm going to get a treat. The Harley means I'm going to get a treat. The skateboard means I'm going to get a treat. And so that's really important. We start off with making sure she's comfortable. So for the vacuum cleaner, once she gets to the point where you're doing the handle up and down, and she can sit right here and she's comfortable, then you maybe pull the handle down and move it a little bit, but you're not turning it on. And again, we're preceding it by giving her a treat, a click, a handle, sweep, put it back. Treat, and eventually you do this, and then you give her the treat after the fact. Now, last one is the sound. The sound is going to be, really for vacuum cleaners, is two things. It's the sound and the smell. So if you turn it on with her right here, it's going to spook her. So what we would do at that point, we'd try to get a handler or somebody that can help you out. Just say, okay, when I cough, or say that a color or a number or a sports figure, city, come up with a code so she only hear now. So every time I see a number, I want you to turn the vacuum cleaner on for 1 second. So they're in the other room. and you're over here with her, you pop a treat in her mouth and say red, they turn the vacuum cleaner on for 1 second. Well, the vacuum cleaner is far enough away where she doesn't feel it to be a threat, but we're preceding it with the reinforcer. And so eventually, she doesn't get so startled by the sound of the vacuum cleaner. Then eventually I can bring the vacuum cleaner a little bit closer. And I'm going to give her the treat, and then we turn the vacuum cleaner on and off, only for 1 second. And when we're doing this, she needs to have the treat in her mouth the whole time that the stimulus is happening. So we're running the vacuum cleaner. If she chews the treat in 3 seconds, don't have the vacuum cleaner running longer than 3 seconds. You just stop at 2.5 or 3 seconds max. The idea is to keep helping create a positive association, and it takes repetition. Certain things are going to be harder, certain things are going to be easier. So like a skateboarder, those are moving really fast, they're making a sound. That might be harder, and skateboarders are usually punks anyways. But usually that's going to make it harder. So you might have to have her 4 houses away while she's watching a kid on a skateboard going very slow. And then 3 houses away going, or maybe keep on going at 4 houses away, at first really slow, then faster and faster, then super fast. And then we go to 3 houses, go back to going slow, and then get faster and faster and faster. And eventually get to the point where the skateboard's going right here, right past her. She's like, whatever, I've been desensitized to it, and I've had a positive exposure, positive reinforcer, so I no longer fear whatever that particular thing is. So I make the list. He's pretty relaxed. Make the list and systematic, and focus on 1 or 2 things at a time. We have a tendency to try to do it all at once, and you won't make all the progress. You want to start knocking things off your list. And even those things in here that she doesn't like, the snapping in the bag. The more of these things that we knock out, then we don't have other things that are contributing to causing her to be fearful. Usually it's not just one thing that causes for a dog to be fearful. It's like 23 things. And I'm exposed to each one of them 2 or 3 times a day. Well, if I chop that number and take 5 of them away, then it's less things that are contributing. Then eventually 10 or 15, 20. Eventually I only have the really hard things. So I'd like the guardian here to try to make friends with somebody, a couple people in the building, invite them over to have a beer. Hey, man, I lived next to you for 6 months. I don't think we've ever. You mind coming over and having a beer? And tell them, just ignore her completely. And what they can do, they can pull out a treat and they can drop a treat. But he is pretty motivated to come in and get these treats, and that helps her feel comfortable. Come, sit, sit. Remember, only say it once. So the more that she has people come over here that don't try to pet her, don't try to talk to her, don't try to look at her, but they occasionally do drop a treat or offer treats. I offered my hand several times, and if the dog turns its head away, that's the dog's way of saying, no, I don't want you to engage. So if you ever reach to treat to pet a dog and it turns its head to the side or backs up, stop. It's saying I'm not comfortable, and if you show that you're listening by not going forward, that will help the dog gain confidence. And so I think in her case, the guardian has meant the best, but has probably exposed her to some things in some situations where she's been more stressful, and it's reinforced those particular fears. So now we know how to make a list and how to positively do some counter conditioning and create a positive association. We can take those things off her list and permanently stop her from fearing those things. It's frustrating for me because this guy, the guardian here, talked to a couple trainers that, oh no, once it's like that, it's the dog at this age, the dog won't. We're all different every day. Every day's experiences changes me and you and everybody else that's watching. Same thing happens for dogs. So if we have positive associations and positive experiences happen enough over and over and over again, the dog actually feels comfortable and confident with that and actually can look forward to that particular thing that they actually used to be fearful of. Let's see if we can get her to come back into shot. And I've already forgotten your name.
Khumbu.
Khumbu. I'll remember by the end of the session. Well, this is Teeka. Sit. Yours is right here, buddy. Sit. See it. Sit. See how that motivation? Remember to play hard to get. So pull out one treat and ask them to sit. Whoever does it gets it right away. I'm guessing it'll be him at first. Right now with the Guardian solo, she's fine. It's I think having me here. But if you start kind of asking them to pet with the purpose and the rest of the stuff we talked about off camera, that will really boost her self-esteem. Well, this is Khumbu, and this is Teeka. And these are some tips and tricks you can use if you have a dog that's fearful about different situations.